Democratic Party has been completely hijacked by the far left. And Bill Clinton, whatever sins you want to say about him, he's not a real far leftist. I mean, He was a pragmatic governor. He was a pragmatic president. And I think that's why even in all of the personal scandals, he ended up with a relatively popular legacy, because people recognized that at the end of the day for Bill Clinton, it was about getting things accomplished, moving the ball forward. He was willing to work with Republicans. What we're seeing now is a far left that says, you know, we want to tax people 90%. We want to raise the minimum wage and kill all those jobs that would have been there. I mean, it's an irrational kind of political approach. It makes the yippies and hippies of the 60s look like posers.
That's totally right.
Just based on, I mean, and as a result of that, Hillary is trying to be who she really is, which is an ideological leftist, but still has a little common sense and understands how to govern. And yet she's trying to do it in the context of a party that is off the rails.
Mike Huckabee just praised the Clintons. Mike fucking Huckabee. The same Mike Huckabee that said we should replace the Constitution with the Bible. He just praised the Clintons. He called Bill, quote, pragmatic. Likes to get things done and work with Republicans. And he said about Hillary, common sense. Ideological leftist, but she has common sense. More centrist. So let me ask my fellow liberals and progressives out there. You really want to support that candidate? You want to support the Democratic candidate that Mike Huckabee says, maybe we could work with them? You shouldn't want to work with Mike Huckabee, because the reality is he has it exactly backwards. He says the far left has, quote, hijacked the Democratic Party. Ha! No. The far right is the Republican Party. There is no real left in America. The furthest left we have within the confines of actual politicians and within the party, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Alan Grayson, and guess what? As I've said 1,000 times before on the show, and as the evidence proves, they are international moderates. They are centrists. You take one of them and you put them in Denmark, you put them in Sweden, you put them anywhere in Scandinavia, and most places in Europe, people go, that might be a conservative. So what's amazing is the ignorance of world politics, the ignorance of political science. He's the extreme one, and he's so extreme, and he's saying, well, Bill and Hillary, kind of moderate, kind of pragmatic, kind of have common sense. So what does that mean in reality? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, even Obama. Center-right, pro-establishment, pro-corporatist. The Overton window is so far to the right that there is no real left in America. And he gives example. The left wants a 90% tax. Actually, no, they don't. You made that up. This has been a lie that's been going around for a while. Bill Maher calls these things zombie lies. Bernie Sanders' top tax rate is 52%. So you say, Kyle, that's still too much. It's 52% for people who make, it's either above 10 million. I think it's above 10 million, but it might be above 5 million, which means that everything over that number is taxed at 52%. So your first 5 million or 10 million, whatever it is, that's not taxed at 52%. Everything above that you make is taxed at 52%. So you're a little off there, buddy. 90% tax. Oh, no, the last person who had that was Eisenhower, a Republican. It was a 91% tax rate. Would you call him a socialist? Would you call him a leftist? Again, total ignorance of history, total ignorance of economics, and just flat out lying about the position of Democrats today. And he scoffs at, these crazy leftists want to raise the minimum wage. Bitch, a majority of your party wants to raise the minimum wage. You want to know why? It makes sense to raise the minimum wage. This idea of like, oh, it's extreme. 80% of the country is extreme then. I mean, there are other modern nations have higher minimum wages. They have a living wage and people are better off. Oh, it'll increase unemployment. No, not necessarily. If you raise it to like $30 an hour, yeah, it might increase unemployment, and I'd be against that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about raising it not that much to make it a living wage so people can survive. And furthermore, that would cut the government programs, because right now it's not a living wage. People have to go to the government in order to make ends meet through welfare, food stamps, and stuff like that. But if you make the corporations pay a living wage, well, then you can cut the government programs because people won't need those government programs as much. So go ahead, pull the lever for the one that Mike Huckabee prefers.